it's your show now, so what's it gonna be? 'Cause people...
Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. I'm Brett Chapin. That's Daisy Egan. And we are joined today by SiriusXM's Live on Broadway host, Julie James. Hey, Julie.
Hello.
Hello. So is it true that your nickname really is Julie MF and James?
Well, it's a very inside, a small group of insiders, and it keeps coming up. So I don't know what it is about my name that just keeps making people say that, but
I think it's partly your personality that you're just like, what? I'm Julie James.
I know that it's your real name.
Around.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's your real name, right, Julie? Because it's a great stage name.
Everybody always thinks it's a stage name or a showbiz name or even a radio name when I got into radio, but I have my parents to thank. They gave me a good one.
Very nice.
Good job, Mr. and Mrs. James.
Well, well, we love Julie James, and she hosts Broadway Names with Julie James on SiriusXM's Live on Broadway, talking to all these amazing Broadway actors. I've heard interviews you've done with a lot of them, and we wanted to have you on the show. One of the reasons that I definitely wanted to have you on the show, Julie, is because I think that your love for Broadway, you really exude that in your interviews. You can really tell that you just have such a passion and such a love for Broadway when you're interviewing these stars. And I was curious, just first to start off, how did it all begin for you getting involved in radio?
Oh, gosh. I mean, it was one of those really happy accidents. I come from a background in opera and musical theater and performance, and I've been fortunate enough to perform around the world, and I went to Kazakhstan at one point and performed for the president there, and I got to sing the national anthem at Fenway Park, but right before I moved to New York from Boston, and I've gotten to do a lot of incredible, wonderful things, and still do and perform and all of that, and it probably would take up the whole show to actually describe how I accidentally sort of landed at Sirius. At the time, it was just Sirius. It was prior to the merger of Sirius and XM together. Mm-hmm. But I think, for your listeners and your audience, what's important is that, I loved what Bonnie was saying about, not waiting for opportunities to come to you. And so I feel like even if you are an actor that is blessed enough to have been, in a major motion picture or on the Broadway stage or whatever, chances are everything you're doing isn't exactly how you pictured it. Mm-hmm. So it's more kind of important, I think, to just go with your heart, go with your passion, go with your gut, and see where that ends up leading you, because it's probably going to be something really different than what you thought it was going to be, and I think everybody experiences that. We all have a lot of pictures of what we think we're going to be doing, but just because it ends up different isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, in my case, it's something I never dreamed I would end up doing, and I so enjoy doing it, and I thank you for acknowledging the passion, because I think that's what it actually starts with.
Yeah, you got to roll with the punches.
Yep. But just very long story short, I got a foot in the door there and was working as sort of a subordinate sort of person on the technical side, working for their 3 classical channels. And I got in there and, much like Bonnie said, just kind of rolled up my sleeves and made myself known, and sort of was like, I could help with that. I could do this. I could do, and before I knew it, I was, ensconced in the world of Broadway. I sing dirty parody songs for Howard Stern. I do jingles on a myriad of stations, voiceovers. I've managed to create a career outside the company doing voiceovers. I did a spot for Whole Foods this week. And then the Broadway thing, really accelerated around the time of the merger, because a lot of change was happening for the company. So I'm actually the program director for the station at large, which is called On Broadway. And we're a 24/7 national station. If anybody doesn't know what we do, satellite radio, and we have an all-show tune station, 24/7, no commercials. And I also am the program director of the Metropolitan Opera Station. So it's really a true blend of all of my original passions, but executed in a way that I could never have imagined. So I think if you just stay open and and stay passionate. And as Tommy Tune said to me, stay interested. That's a lot right there. So I feel really fortunate and blessed to get to do what I get to do every day, which includes responsible for both of those stations at large. Everything that's on them is basically my responsibility. And then I have the individual specialty shows like the Live on Broadway with Seth Rudetsky. Now it's a new show called Seth Speaks Broadway. My own show, Broadway Names with Julie James, and all these other hats that everybody has to wear.
And I think we just found out why your nickname is Julie MF and James.
Who has time? I'm not messing around here.
Well, you get a great opportunity, which I'm sure you don't take for granted, is the opportunity to talk to a lot of Broadway stars, and you spend so much time finding out about them that it's nice to be able to find out a little bit about you as well today.
Thank you.
So who's your? I know it's hard to pick, but maybe who are some of your favorites that you've had the chance to speak to?
Besides Brett Chapin and Daisy Egan.
Right, clearly.
I know. But that's a given. So we'll just put that in its own pocket. I maybe because he's fresh on my mind from the Tony Awards, because I visited with him versus very briefly on the red carpet, and it was my second time visiting with him. The first was in the studio for a really nice sit down, and that was Mr. Hugh Jackman.
Oh, nice.
And he just is an unbelievable person, like as the person, aside from Hugh Jackman, the actor or his persona or whatever. And I think that's the most fun thing, is finding out who these people actually are, aside from what roles they play or how they've been marketed or that sort of thing. So he is an amazing humanitarian and philanthropist, and he has a heart that is as huge as his muscles. And one of the reasons that he was honored with a Tony honor this year is because while he was doing his Broadway show this fall, he raised just on his own over $2 million.
Yeah, that's incredible.
For Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. Just like on his own, half the time not even really organized. So it was just amazing to get to talk with him. That's just one. That's just one example.
I'll bet it was. We're going to have to come back with you. You can tell us about a couple more maybe.
Cool.
We'll be back with Julie James from SiriusXM's Live on Broadway on La La Land with Brett and Daisy, CRN Digital Talk.